everybody, welcome back to Wild Horizons. My name is Barrett, and in today's video, you're gonna learn all about reptile care, supplies, and everything else you may need, and you're gonna learn how to do it all on a budget. Alright everybody, well I appreciate you tuning back into this one. Again, if you're new, my name is Barrett. This is my YouTube channel, Wild Horizons, and in today's video, we are going to break down how to care for your reptile or amphibian or other pets that you may have on a budget. So we're going to go into three main topics here today. One's going to be enclosures, second is going to be food and supplies, and the third is going to be heating and lighting. So again, if you're new, make sure you drop a like down below, consider subscribing. This is an important one today, and I hope it helps you out. Again, if you are new and you enjoy any of this content, make sure you comment down below. I read all of them, but let's get right into number one. Alright everybody, well number one is enclosures. So enclosures obviously are super important because that's what houses your animal. So we're going to cover a couple different things when it comes to enclosures. First off, we're going to cover how you get enclosures. So there's multiple different avenues you can go down in order to get an enclosure, but in today's video, we're talking about budget. So budgeting, I use Facebook Marketplace like it's candy.
What did you just say?
I don't know, I use it all the time and y'all should too. So again, if you're really young and you have parents, I'm assuming they probably have Facebook, and with Facebook comes Facebook Marketplace. So many of the enclosures that we have, like all the ones here behind me, we've gotten off of Facebook, and or we've gotten them from people we've gotten animals from. But when it comes to Facebook, usually you're getting an enclosure in pretty decent shape if you do some good shopping, and you can get it for a much discounted rate. So a lot of the enclosures that we have here in our household are hundreds of dollars, some even thousands of dollars brand new. We haven't spent even a fraction of what they actually should cost us. But to give you an idea, we get a lot of front opening enclosures for a lot of our animals, and the reason why we get front opening enclosures is because they're a lot easier to access and do maintenance on the tank itself. So I'll give you an example. We just did our Tegu enclosure, which is a fully custom built wooden enclosure that we got for free. It's well over $1,000 if you have someone make that for you. It's front opening, it has glass, it has everything you would need for an enclosure to house an animal that big. A Tegu's a pretty big lizard. But again, we like to use front opening enclosures because we are able to go in, we can move around freely without taking the top off, which you, in most situations, you can also take the top off of front opening enclosures, but it's really easy to get your animal out. A lot of times you won't have to move the lights on top or any ventilations that you may have for like humidity control and things like that too. So I would always suggest to you, if you prefer it, which I do, I would get front opening enclosures. So if you're looking to get an animal, or you're looking to upgrade their enclosure or tank or terrarium, whatever you want to call it, I would highly encourage you to get a front opening enclosure. Now there's two main types of front opening enclosures. You'll have your double doors that actually swing out, and then you'll have sliding doors. Both are good options and both may be the right choice for you. It really depends on the animal you get, or it could be the deal you get on the enclosure too. So I know with a lot of our 40-gallon setups, like I mentioned earlier, we've gotten them off of Facebook Marketplace, and most of the enclosures that we have are going to be your swing out doors, whether that's for a 12 by 12 by 18, whether that's an 18 by 18 by 24, or it's a 40-gallon setup, or even a 120-gallon setup. It really is going to depend on what you find out there. Again, do the shopping you can on Facebook. I know many of the enclosures we've gotten, like I mentioned earlier, are hundreds of dollars worth of enclosures. But to give you an idea, most of the 40-gallon setups that we get from Facebook are between $50 and $100 per enclosure, which if you were to go buy them from name brand stores like PetSmart or even Amazon, you're going to be spending hundreds of dollars. So make sure that you do some digging, whether it's on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Craigslist. There's so many different local avenues that you can find and get a pretty good deal on that kind of stuff. So again, you will need to clean those setups prior to putting the animals in. That's not what this video is about, but make sure you do the shopping that you need to do in order to cut down on upfront costs, because enclosures are a pretty big upfront cost. But let's get on to number two. All right, so number two is food and supplies. So I would highly encourage you guys, again, if you're younger and you have adults that are buying food for you, or if you're an adult or a man-child like me, we get our animals food in bulk most of the time. So if we're dealing with our fish, if we're dealing with our reptiles, lizards, turtles, you name it, we probably have it. Again, if we don't have it, in the future we will. But again, what we do is we buy in bulk. So when it comes to veggies, again, go to local like produce stores like Food Lion, Farm Fresh, Harris Teeter, Kroger. Again, there's tons of different grocery stores out there, but make sure you're getting stuff in bulk, so it's a lot cheaper. Or if you have memberships to places like Sam's Club and other places like that where you pay an annual fee, a lot of times you can get stuff for a lot less expensive. So it's important to buy in bulk, and the reason why I say that is it's pretty good to save money. Obviously, that's what this whole video is about. You gotta be careful because produce, it's kind of hard to buy that in bulk because you want it fresh. So mainly what I'm producing and buying in bulk is gonna be the stuff that really doesn't go bad, like turtle feed, crickets, dubia roaches, that kind of stuff. Because a lot of this stuff too, we can breed and we can set up enclosures to actually reproduce some of these feeds. So for crickets, for dubia roaches, mealworms, fruit flies, all that kind of stuff, you can grow it yourself. You can reproduce it yourself, and it saves you a ton of money. So again, if you want videos and individual breakdown on how to do that, the only video that I have up as of this video going live is how to do flightless fruit flies. I cultivate my own, we do our own dubia roaches and mealworms. We don't do crickets just because we don't get so many of those, and it's just cheaper for us to go get it local. But for dubia roaches, for mealworms, and for flightless fruit flies, it can add up really quick because we're not getting like 50 to 100 every time we go. We're getting hundreds. We have a lot of animals. So again, if you don't have a lot of animals, it may not be best that you buy all this stuff in bulk like we do, but it's really important that you go and you make sure you know what you're spending each month or each week on these animals because you don't want to go broke. Obviously, you're getting an animal, you need to know what you can spend, how much money you have to spend, and you need to set yourself a budget. So that's what this video is about, is how to cut down on that budget and save yourself some money. The other thing that I want to point out is using people's links. So I have a lot of links down in the description for this video for different lighting, for different food, for different feed, and even enclosures, where you can save yourself a lot of money by using my code down below or using the links that I have that take you directly to Amazon. So again, if you need any food or anything else or suggestions, comments, make sure you drop them down below. But I think that pretty much covers food and feed. Let's get on to the next. The other thing that I want to cover besides food was also supplies. So supplies are obviously super important because you'll need to change out substrates. You may even need to change out hides and stuff like that in the future. And it's really important in my eyes to get that stuff in bulk because it usually doesn't go bad. What we use for a lot of our enclosures and setups is different kinds of substrates that really hold humidity well because a lot of reptiles and even amphibians need humidity in their environment. So whether that's through misting or foggers or substrates, all of that can be accomplished, and it's going to be different for whatever animal you get, but I'll have links for all the stuff that I use down below. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you drop a comment. I'll answer them to the best of my ability and go through them all. I'm usually pretty good about that, so if you have any questions, just drop a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer them. But let's get on to the next. Alright, so last but not least is heating and lighting. So this is a super important one, obviously, because any animal that we have in our house, amphibians, reptiles, etc., all need some sort of heating and lighting. So it's going to be different for whatever watt or bulb that you need for whatever animal you're getting. And if you have questions about what animal you're interested in or even have, drop a comment down below. Again, I'll do my best to answer them. But go online, go on forums, and figure out what wattage bulb or even what kind of bulb your animal may need. The most important one in my eyes is keeping bulbs in stock. So we have a full cabinet that's full of lights, full of supplies, full of accessories that we go through on a weekly or monthly basis. So what we do is we buy all of our lights in bulk. A lot of time we can get packs of 2 or packs of 4 for a lot less expensive than you can get just individual packs for. My suggestion to you is go on Amazon. Again, I have links down below in the description for all the bulbs that we use for our animals. Again, there's different, UVB lighting bars and different heat domes, dual heat domes, single heat domes, all that kind of stuff. Again, it will depend on the animal that you have, but you really never know when a light's gonna go out. So you need to keep that stuff in stock because your animal, reptiles, they are going to take heat in from external sources. They don't produce heat like we do as humans. So they need some sort of heat to be able to maintain a proper body temperature.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Or they'll get sick and they could even die. So make sure you look at and do the research on whatever animal that you're going to get and figure out what kind of lighting and heating source it may need. Again, my opinion for all reptiles and all amphibians is give them UVB. I'm not talking UVB bulbs, I'm talking UVB bars, T5, T10. So they need UVB to be able to grow properly and stimulate their body to be able to produce all of the hormones and everything that they produce in the wild in captivity. So as keepers, we want to do our best to provide our animals a very similar setup to what they would have in the wild. I'm not saying that an enclosure is what they have in the wild, but being that a lot of the animals that we get are captive bred, they don't even know what wild is. So we're doing the best we can in captivity to replicate what they get in the wild. And all animals are going to get sunshine, so you need to give them UVB. Otherwise, they can have serious problems like metabolic bone disease. There's calcium stuff that I can go into as well, and I can go down a long rabbit hole for this. But again, just make sure that you're giving your animal, whether it's a reptile, amphibian, or other animal, proper heating or lighting sources that it needs. So let's get on to the last thing here, which is our outro. I appreciate you sticking through this one. All right, everybody, well, I appreciate you sticking through this one. Again, I know there was some kind of broad coverage on a lot of these today. I just wanted to get it out there that you need to be able to keep in mind conscientious ways to save money, because animals can be expensive, and you may not understand up front when you get an animal that it's gonna get big, it may need to eat more, or it may need to change its diet completely. Like with bearded dragons is a great example, because when they're young, they eat a lot of crickets or insects. They have a lot of protein in their diet, but when they get older, they're mainly gonna eat lettuce. Or not lettuce, just greens in general. Not really lettuce, because that's not a good one, but collard greens and other things like that. But again, it's super important to know what to budget for, how to budget for that animal, and if again it's over your means, go look at a different animal. There's animals that are way less expensive to keep than other animals. So our tegu here is a lot more expensive to keep than say our bearded dragons are, or our anoles are even. So again, they eat different diets, they're gonna eat different amounts, and they're gonna be a different sized animal. So make sure you're doing the proper research that you need to do, not only to keep a budget with these guys, but make sure you properly care for them in captivity, which is what all of you guys, I'm assuming, are doing, or want to do, or interested in. But I appreciate you sticking through this one. Again, I know it was a pretty short one. I at least wanted to get it out there though, so you can understand how to budget, how to save money. And if you have any questions, again, drop a comment down below, but make sure you leave a like and subscribe. It definitely helps out the channel. I appreciate you sticking through this one, but let's go ahead and roll the outro. Peace out.